In this video, I'm going to kind of continue on from what I did yesterday. If you have not watched my video yesterday, definitely go check it out. I'll put a little notification up there, but I did my Heisman predictions for next season, and we all know that the Heisman Trophy is kind of centered around the quarterback position. It is way more likely for a quarterback to win the position than any other position. Even you take every other position in all of college football, still probably not as likely that a player from there will win rather than a quarterback. So that's what I want to kind of get into today is who is the best quarterback in the SEC? Because it's kind of a wide open question this year. A lot of people have a lot of different opinions, and yes, many of those opinions may depend on what's your favorite team, because I know Georgia Bulldog fans are going to have different opinions than Alabama fans, that are going to have different opinions from Ole Miss fans, that are going to have different opinions from Gamecocks fans, that are going to have different opinions from Auburn fans. So there's a long list. A lot to be talked about, so welcome to this video, guys. Welcome to Touchdowns to Home Runs. Do me a huge favor. It helps me way more than you guys even know. Smash that like button down below. I'd really appreciate it. And if you love college football, especially SEC football, because we cover that a lot on this channel, hit that like button, or hit that sub button down there while you're at it if you're not already subscribed. And if you are already subscribed, thank you for sticking around with me for a long time. I really appreciate your support, and it seems like you guys love the content, so that always makes me happy when you guys are loving what I'm doing, and I love the support that you guys are giving me. The SEC quarterback room this year, if you take every single quarterback in the SEC and put them in one room, who's your standout guys straight off the bat? After last season, who are we losing from last season? We're losing Mac Jones, we're losing Kellen Mond, who were two of the bigger quarterbacks in the SEC last season. Who is going to be your standout guys in the SEC? And by this conversation, I'm going for who is going to be the best quarterback this season. Now, I can't look forward. I don't have a crystal ball that shows me who the best quarterback will be at the end of the season. And even when we get to the end of the season, who's the best quarterback is completely subjective. Like, a lot of people will think, let's say, it's Connor Bazelak from Missouri, let's say, or some people will think it's Harrison Bailey. Again, I'm just taking two random guys from the SEC and saying it's completely subjective of who of those two guys you think is better. It's just all based on your opinion. What I'm going through in this video is who right now would I think is my best bet for who will finish the quarterback position as the best or in the best position, just stat-wise and overall team success-wise. Who do I think is the best quarterback in the SEC right now going into the season? It doesn't matter about what's happening at the end of the season because that's too far away. We can't predict that yet. But this will give you a very good prediction of who are the guys that are going to kind of be fighting for that spot of who is the best quarterback in college or in the SEC for this season. So I think straight off the bat, the first three guys that you're going to think off the top of your head, you're going to think Bryce Young out of Alabama. If you just watched Alabama's spring game, he had a really good day. Yes, he still had some quote-unquote freshman mistakes because this is going to be his first season fully playing at the quarterback position. We got to see him at little spurts at the ends of games that Alabama was just blowing teams out, which was a lot this last season, but he didn't get to play in any real meaningful moments for Alabama. But does he have the talent? 110%. So that's why he's going to be in this conversation. I think also in this case, if you look at top three, you're going to have JT Daniels out of Georgia. Georgia Bulldogs fans will be living out the next how many days or months until they play Florida again, saying, what if JT Daniels played against Florida? And guess what? If JT Daniels goes out and does beat Florida next season, I guarantee you will hear, if we had JT Daniels playing in 2020, we would have beaten the Florida Gators. JT Daniels, I watched his spring game too. A lot better. He started to progress a lot better when the Georgia offense started letting him actually sling the ball at the beginning of the first half, or whatever you want to call it, the first quarter. It was just all short throws. It was very boring to watch, but as you let him start to stretch his arm out and as you see him throw the ball downfield more, his arm actually really impressed me in that Georgia game. So I think he's definitely another guy that you got to look out for this year, JT Daniels, and how he's going to do in his last season and how he's going to prepare for the draft, because this is a make or break year for him if he wants to get drafted high in the NFL draft. I think Georgia has the pieces to be a successful team this year, but it kind of all lies on how JT Daniels is going to do at that quarterback position. He has the SEC East lined up for him. Can he take it? And I think the last guy, you look at quarterbacks from last season in the SEC, obviously Mac Jones jumps out at you. But other than Mac Jones, this guy I think by far was the best quarterback in the SEC. Matt Corral out of Ole Miss. His stats were insane. Yes, take away his Arkansas game, which I think he threw 3 interceptions or something like that. He did not have a good game there. But watch any other game. For instance, turn to the Alabama game. Alabama's so-called one of the best defenses in all of college football. Now, last season, they weren't the greatest, but still, you're going up against Alabama. It wasn't like Ole Miss was playing FCS Southwest if you play NCAA 13 or 14. He wasn't playing some random schools. He still had to play an all-SEC slate, and Ole Miss was putting up 50-plus points a ton last season. So Ole Miss was a very, very, very dangerous offense last season. And I think Matt Corral has to do a lot with that. Like, yes, they did have some good receivers. Yes, you had Jerron Ely as your running back. Yes, you had Snoop Connor as your running back. Yes, you had Elijah Moore and Kenny Yeboah. Kenny Yeboah and Elijah Moore are moving on this season, and you still got your running backs there. But I still think Matt Corral just made some major, major improvements last season, and he's going to come out and be one of the better guys this season, 110%. I think that this is a huge season for Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss to really prove where they are going as a program. Last season here's a glimpse of what we can be in the future. This is the season where maybe you get an upset or two and really show this Ole Miss fan base what kind of program you have in store. And I think Matt Corral could be very, very successful this season. What about some of the other guys who are kind of stepping in to bigger roles? Like, you look at Kyle Trask, left last year, left the SEC because he's going to the draft now. Emory Jones stepping in at his position at Florida. How's he going to do this season? We got to see him in the Cotton Bowl a bit. He did very, very well when they got put in, although they did take him out and put back in Kyle Trask. I still think Emory Jones has the talent to be that. What about the LSU quarterback room? Is it going to be Miles Brennan? Is it going to be Max Johnson? Is it going to be TJ Finley? Any of those guys. I think they're all talented guys who have the capability to be in this best quarterback slot, but do they have the consistency to be in this slot? What about SEC Freshman of the Year Connor Bazelak out of Missouri? What is his freshman to sophomore improvements going to be like? Is he going to be able to put Missouri in a place of success where they're looking at probably the second best team? I think it would be a very successful season for Missouri if they're able to finish second in the SEC East. Just looking at some of these other guys, Will Rogers at a Mississippi State. I know Harrison Bailey at a Tennessee. Tennessee is insane right now, their whole situation, but what if him? What about Luke Doty on my Gamecocks? One of the most athletic guys that you'll see in all the SEC. Can do it with his feet, can do it with his arms. Can he be more accurate downfield? And could he lead the Gamecocks and Shane Beamer to success in his first season? And then Bo Nix, obviously, who can be a good quarterback when he wants to, but there's just way too many consistency issues there to say easily that he is the best quarterback in the SEC. But the guy that I'm going to go with, and I'll give you guys my top 3. I'll rank them top 3. I'm going to go number 3, JT Daniels. Georgia fans aren't going to like me for this, but I just need to see more out of JT Daniels. Yes, he did play a bit of last season or whatever, but you still look at the games that he played. Georgia didn't put up any crazy numbers in that game. They played Cincinnati, who, give Cincinnati credit, they were one of the better defenses in all of college football last year. That team is way too underrated, and they definitely deserve to be higher than, what did they finish? I think they finished 7th or something like that. Cincinnati was actually a really good team. That I just felt I needed to see more from JT Daniels. Don't get me wrong, he's still the 3rd quarterback on this board here. But to call him the number 1 right now, I just feel like I need to see more from him. Number 2, I'm going to go Bryce Young out of Alabama just because talent-wise, I think he has definitely the most potential out of any guy in this whole list. It's just how will he do in his first full season with the reins at Alabama? He could easily go out and be the best quarterback in here, but is consistency going to be an issue? How is he going to settle into the role at Alabama? Let's not forget, Alabama goes on and plays Miami first game of the season, which, give Miami credit, they're not a terrible team, so that's not going to be a cakewalk win any way possible. So Bryce Young is going to be tested early. How is he going to be able to do in that role? And I think that leaves number 1 obvious, and I am going to stand by this. And if he doesn't finish as the best quarterback at the end of the season, then I guessed wrong. But I stand firmly that I think Matt Corral is the best quarterback in the SEC right now. If he plays like he does last year, again, minus the Arkansas game, because that was the games when he saw his flaws, his deep ball is very, very dangerous. He's good on his feet. There's a lot to like about Matt Corral, and he has the offensive support around him, especially at the running back position, to be a really successful quarterback this season. Let's not forget, quarterback play, it doesn't only matter about you. You still need receivers on the outside. You still need good running backs to carry a rushing game because that opens up the passing game a lot more. And I think Matt Corral has that. I think Matt Corral has the most experience here, which is why I'm going to take him as my best quarterback right now in the SEC. If I had to call this before the season, I'd say Matt Corral is the best quarterback in the SEC. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I appreciate it. Like down below, hit the sub button. Thanks for watching, and definitely come back next time.